last question, and probably one of my favorite questions. We're going to go back in time a little bit, Kev, and just talk about lessons learned. So if you were starting out as a CISO today, what lessons would you share with your younger self from what you've learned?
So yeah, but I've got a really good one. So one of the things that I think is still frustrating to a lot of people is the whole getting his homework checked by other people, right? So organizations love having a big four come in and review the security program and tell you it's good or it's missing stuff, right? And 9 times out of 10, if you're doing your job well, they're going to, I've had it done multiple times and had nothing material added to the security programs because I've been lucky enough to have good teams around me and build really strong programs, right? But when I first started, I rallied against this really hard because you had audit checking you and you had external parties checking you. And I think it was when I was at Just Eat, and it happened to be when Just Eat was growing a lot and going through kind of takeover questions and all this kind of stuff. So we went through a lot more oversight than you'd expect for a non-regulated organisation. And I kind of rallied against it really hard. It's like, we know what we're doing. You're not adding any value. It's just spending hundreds of thousands of pounds on these reports and it's not changing anything we're doing, right? But actually, yes, it is a bit frustrating. And yes, in some ways it's money that you don't need to spend. But equally, the benefit of it is boards and exec love it, right? So if you've had your program checked by one of the, by consultancy X, and they've come in and gone, actually, yeah, we've reviewed it. We've suggested a couple of minor changes because they have to add some value, and the program's good. And the maturity is what they say it is, or roughly what you think it is, whatever else, right? It's really helpful because you've now got this ratification on top of you knowing what you're doing that says, hey, this is the right things and we have got the right program and we are doing it in the right order. And then you get more support for doing it. So yes, you could argue it's not necessary, but if it gets you more support from boards and exec on what you're doing and they're all bought into what you're doing, because it's not just, hey, Kevin team say we're doing X, it's Kevin team and some other external independent org say we're doing the right thing, it gets you a huge amount more support. So actually, if business wants to spend their money doing that, or audit does, or whoever, kind of embrace it, because as long as you've got your stuff in a row, and it might be sometimes they find something like, oh, what are you doing about X? Like, oh, I hadn't thought of that. So it can add value if they do pick up something you hadn't done, or they might question your prioritization and make you rethink some of your prioritization. So it can add some value, but it adds huge value if you get more support, right? Because the whole point of a lot of the questions here are basically, the subtext is, how do we get more support for delivering the security program, right? So yeah, that really does help you. And so, so my younger self is, don't rally against that stuff and embrace it, because it really will help you get more support to get stuff done.
Bro, that's awesome.
Oh, I know. I really like that. And I loved your example about how, because I'm sure I've been in the same boat where you just think the value add, but when you embrace it, it's so powerful. There's so many things I'd like to teach my younger self as well. So Kevin and James, thank you. It was really great to have the chance to talk with you today. So,
well, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. We will get this out to the audience as soon as possible. And this will all go towards our insight report that we are building around risk resilience and reputation, CISO and the board. But a massive thank you to Kevin for joining us and giving his perspective and his experience and knowledge. So appreciate the time, Kevin. And thank you for Jody for running the session.